All right, welcome, and of course, thank you for always choosing to stay with us. And now that big interview that we were all waiting for has finally arrived. He has been on the spotlight for his anti-government protest, a move that has continued to elicit sharp criticism from a section of Kenyans who thinks that this is one clout too many from the comedian, from marching to State House with a cart full of CVs to staging protest outside Parliament with shirtless, muscular men to synonymous arrests. What is he up to? To help us dissect this, the man himself, comedian Eric Omondi, is in the house. Thank you so much for always making time, of course.
Asante.
Well, quite a lot of issues, and of course, one of them from cart full of CVs,
Yes.
arrests,
Yes.
men with muscular, and of course, protesting outside Parliament.
Yes.
What is going on?
Things are not okay,
Okay.
and someone has to speak up. Someone has to be the voice, and that person is Eric Omondi.
All right.
I think every Kenyan agrees with me when I say that things are very hard.
Okay.
Life has become very expensive, and so someone has to speak up,
All right.
and so I'm speaking up.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, let me quote a tweet that actually from your Instagram.
Yes.
We are going to break free from the chains of slavery, political, economic slavery, and of course, brainwashing.
Yes.
Are you some sort of leading a revolution?
It's
or
a,
what?
it's a revolution,
All right.
and there are very many types of revolutions, but
Okay.
and this particular one doesn't have to go far if the government acts,
Okay.
because you see, so far it's just Eric Omondi, but if it keeps on going on, it will gather momentum, and then it can turn into something else.
Okay.
We've seen this has happened; it has been done before.
All right.
But it's not something new, and I feel like we are in economic slavery for the longest time, and we're not fighting a person; we're fighting a system
All right.
that has been there since independence, where the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. You understand?
Okay.
And so we want to break that chain. And we want to be able to prepare a Kenya for new generations, for our children, where fairness is the order of the day, where things are distributed equally. Yeah. Currently, there's so much going on.
Okay.
We've had moments where people are saying unga ni iko juu. Then we've had times when people say stima iko juu. Then we've had times when people say mafuta iko juu. But we've never had a time when they were all juu.
Okay.
You get
All
mafuta juu, stima juu, unga juu,
Okay.
rent iko juu, na help hakuna, school fees iko juu.
All right. You have spoken to my curiosity, and of course, a lot of things has been happening. Of course, the price of unga being high, the high cost of living,
Yes.
all that in
Yes.
between. But the timing is quite a bit interesting.
Yes.
Why now?
Because now is the time.
All right.
Now is the time.
Okay.
Not tomorrow. It's an emergency. It's urgent. Families are going without food. Children are sleeping hungry, going to days. So this is an emergency. And when we wake up and see the government allocating 802 million for cars
Okay.
from Davadi and Rigadi and the president, 802 million, while people are going hungry, while they tell us on the same day that there's no help for students, then this is the time.
All right.
When they give money for cars and there's no help, that's the time we talk.
Okay.
Tomorrow we might be a bit too late, so
Alright.
it has to be handled today, because hunger does not care whether you have money or not. When you feel hungry, it demands for food. Hunger does not respect tribe or party.
All right.
Hunger does not only go to Azimio or UDA; it goes to every person that has a stomach.
All right.
So I feel like it's an emergency, it's urgent, it has to be handled now.
All right.
And so the time is now.
You spoke about the existing issues, of course, that need to be addressed.
Yes.
But one may ask, how do you plan, of course, to solve this? Because at the end of the day, problems are there. And one of your aim is to make sure that you see the cost of unga coming down. Of course, the cost of living. But what is the plan?
The plan is very simple. You saw this Azimio people together with the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. They were demonstrating the other day.
Right.
Are they demonstrating now? No. Because apparently, somehow, there's a bipartisan mission going on.
All right.
To solve those issues. So we are going to call upon Kenyans to demonstrate for 14 days non-stop.
Okay.
Yes. So that's how we're going to get, because we've discovered, there's a formula. When you demonstrate, you are listened to.
Okay.
That's the formula we're going to follow.
All right.
We'll make sure there is no, life does not continue as usual.
All right.
Yes.
Well, when you talk about when you demonstrate, you are listened to. Of course, the president extended olive branch to Azimio leader Raila Odinga, or to be fair, the Azimio team.
Yes.
And one of the things was to look at the contentious issues that need to be addressed. Well, you have issues that are very pertinent in this fight and this struggle.
Yes.
One may ask, why wouldn't you, face the president, have a discussion, and of course see the way forward? What is making you so?
I cannot face the president because it will become political.
All right.
You, together with every other Kenyan, will throw insults at me.
All right.
Huyu is selfish. Huwa anajitafutia.
Okay.
Waliongea nini na Ruto? So these are things I have to shout on the streets.
All right.
And we're going to be calling an audience with the president, not to me.
Okay.
But I want to call upon youths. I want to call upon women, mama mbogas, borders. I want to call upon citizens.
Okay.
So that we meet the president at a stadium somewhere. It could be Kasarani, it could be Nyayo. All of us together. So me, I'm not seeking an audience with the president. I do not have to. If the president is listening, he just needs to, if tomorrow he wakes up and says, Unga is 100 bob, I don't need to meet the president.
All right.
Because me meeting the president, for what reason? If electricity goes down, then I'm good.
Okay. Well, you have raised a very important question that many have been asking, of course. Are you a comedian or an activist?
I have been a comedian for 16 years.
All right.
16 years.
Okay.
I repeat that. I've made people laugh for 16 years. I am 41 years old.
All right. Okay.
So it is no longer a laughing matter. I don't see anything to smile about.
Okay.
I've made people laugh for 16 years.
All right.
But then, how will history judge me? So I made people happy. But what is that one thing I did to help? Kenyans have supported me. When have I ever supported Kenyans?
Okay.
Kenyans who come to my shows, they've bought my shows. What is that one thing that I've done? Have I ever given back to Kenyans? I'm the most followed citizen in this country.
Okay.
I have a platform that is God-given. Have I used that platform to champion for any cause in this country? No. So this is the time. Comedy back.
Okay.
16 years is a lot of years. It's enough. Enough is enough.
All right.
Now it's time for legacy.
Just for the record.
Yes.
Now, it's not all about comedy now.
No.
Okay.
It's not clout. It is not attention seeking. It is not comedy. It is people's lives and people's livelihood.
All right.
It's about children who are going hungry and houses that are being closed and students without school fees.
We'll talk about that later on. Let's talk about the issue that you raised about demonstration for 14 days non-stop.
Yes.
How are you planning to do that?
I cannot tell you that because these people have devised a plan and a plot to weaken me. Because every time I go to the streets, they arrest me. So that is psychologically very tiring. So nikienda Monday wananishika natoka Wednesday. Nikienda Thursday wananishika natoka Friday.
Right.
So we are coming up. I'm a very creative person. God has gifted me with a lot of creativity.
All right.
So I'm planning. I will come back and tell you when we're about to do it. So that even if they arrest me, it's still going on. In fact, if they arrest me, they will help not the revolution, the demonstrations.
All right. Yes. Now, there is a Public Order Act that guides, demonstration, and one of them, let me read it for you. The act requires any person intending to convene a public assembly to give a place that is a place of demonstration, that demonstration will be happening between 3 to 14 days. That's how it is. Have you issued?
I used to do that nonsense. I no longer do it. It doesn't work.
All right.
They don't stamp it, they don't receive it, they don't accept it, and it is our constitutional right.
Yeah.
So I don't longer do that nonsense. If they are going to break the law, we are going to break the law together. When you go to ask for permission, they will scrutinize and then they will deny. So as a Kenyan, I wake up and I do, so long as I'm within the precincts of the law. And like, a good example is myself. Why do they arrest me, Evans? Evans, why do they arrest me? I'm always alone.
You tell me.
Exactly. I have the right to the freedom of association. I have the right to picket and the right to demonstrate. When I'm walking on the streets with Mkokoteni, you could as well stop me and question me, but why are you arresting me?
Okay.
What have I done?
Now,
I've not spoiled any property.
For the objectivity, of course, one of the claim, and I'll call them claim because you have your own say and they have theirs, was the disturbance. Of course, they were claimed that you, of course,
we are going to disturb. Yes, we are
already imposed on the road.
Yes, we are going to block as many roads as possible. We're going to disturb the city. We're going to, people are suffering. And there's a law saying that says a hungry man has no shame. So the things that people are going through are worse than a road that is blocked. How many roads are in this city? If you block Kenyatta Avenue, use Moi Avenue. Yeah. So if that is, you see, if a 2-month-old child is hungry, they cannot talk. So what do? They create a disturbance.
All right.
Then the parents like, they demonstrate. Right. So that they get attention of the parent. So we're trying to get attention of our parent, which is the government. And the government just needs to listen.
All right.
People are crying. We are children. When a child comes to you crying, you do not beat them. You listen to them. And you're asking the government to listen to the cry of the people and the voice of the people.
Right.
So do not antagonize the people, but listen to the people. But if they don't listen to us, we have to shout. Unfortunately, because Raila is no longer on the streets. He's being listened to, and they're doing a bipartisan thing on electoral reforms, which I totally support, because it will help us in the future. So we are children who are crying. We are hungry. We are like a 2-month-old baby. So mtoto akilia hawezi anza kumpiga. So that's what the government is doing. We are crying and they're beating us.
Well, you talk about crying, all these things. Do you think at the end of the day the government will listen to you?
Yes, they have to listen. And Evans, it gets very dangerous, yeah? When these voices get louder. When I started my first demonstration, I was alone. The second one, I was with the people who I called my friends, bouncers. You remember them? The last one, did you see the last one?
Yeah, I saw them.
Did you see the people who gathered there? I don't know who they are, but I know they're Kenyans. I didn't call even a single one of them. There were over around 350 people within 5 minutes. You understand? So I would advise the government to just listen.
Okay.
Bro, if your child is crying, why don't you just say ni ni ni? Then they tell you tumbo na niuma. So this African thing of mtoto akilia ni kiboko, akigonga nini na bleed kiboko. Listen. The government needs to listen. What is Eric saying? Eric, they've never gone and said, Eric, they always ready with the handcuff and the tear gas. Nobody has ever told me, Eric, kuja hapa, ni nini mbaya?
Well, you are known to be a comedian.
Yes.
And of course, in recent past, so many things have happened. And some might, not take you too serious on this one. And for instance, when you demonstrated outside Parliament, of course, with well-built men, what was the message and why well-built men?
The message was, many people said if the message was price of unga and people are starving, why then go with people who don't look like they're starving? Because we do not want to go to Turkana. We are fighting for those people. We don't want to make them suffer more. I don't want to go to Turkana and carry people who are starving and bring them to Parliament in the scorching sun on that hot tarmac. But our message was the strength is to the youth and wisdom to the old.
Okay.
Yeah. And so if the old don't use their wisdom to listen, then the youth will lose their strength.
Okay.
So we're just showing the viciousness and strength of the youth.
All right.
Yes.
Well, about the recent one, and this was funny, if you ask me.
Yes.
You know, claiming to commit suicide.
Yes.
How was that? How did you think of such a thing?
I was not claiming, it's just that the Nini disappointed me. The rope was too long. The rope was too long and it was not tight enough. But I think this nation needs a trigger. It does. So that people realize the grave seriousness of what's going on in the backyard. I walk on the streets and people meet me and talk to me. People send me messages through Facebook and even Instagram and even on my WhatsApp. And the stories are sad.
Okay.
The stories are sad. There are kids who've gone without food for 2 days.
Okay.
And the mother doesn't know what will happen on the third day. And the mother is a hawker who was arrested in town. A woman who makes 500 per day, arrested while selling njugus, these groundnuts, and charged 10,000. A woman who makes 500 charged 10,000. So she goes to Langata. That's why I've been going to these prisons, kutoa watu. So this woman, who will talk on her behalf? We need to be so loud because there's a lot of politics and politicking going on. And that's why I'm telling you, this generation needs to start thinking of a takeover in the next 5 or 10 years. Because this generation of, there was the independence generation, Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Jomo Kenyatta, Chinga Neko, you know, they built that Kagia. That was the independence generation. Then from 1978, from Moi, Kibaki, Kalonzo, Matakarua, Uhuru, this new generation. Wametoka 1978 mpaka leo, but they're doing their last lap. But we cannot do the same things they did.
All right.
And expect anything different. So if there's any young person who's watching here, we're going to start a campaign to uproot these guys from parliament, to uproot these guys from the MCA to the president.
All right.
We bring in a new generation.
Okay.
Yes.
You have brought a very important aspect to this discussion. And of course, the role of youth, of course, in leadership.
Yes.
In this parliament, of course, we have seen a lot of youth in parliament, of course, some legislator. It is a good thing. But if I were to ask you, do you think they have really, live up to the expectation?
Not at all. They have not. A few have. The likes of Babu are really trying because they're vocal on the issues. And he has been ever since he was a student leader. Any parliamentarian who is not vocal on the issues of Kenyans, we are seeing you.
Right.
And they're going to vote you out.
If majority of youths, at least now they can, proudly say they have some sort of representation in the parliament and they are not doing their work, then why advocate for the same youths who will go there and of course sleep on the job?
I thank you so much for that question. It's very important. We are going to raise a new crop, a new generation of leadership that is awake and conscious to the past mistakes of corruption, of unfairness, and of politics. We are going to raise our awareness and we're going to raise our woke generation that understands why Kenya is where it is. So we have time. This is 2023. We have 4 years to recruit, to train, to establish what is wrong and what needs to be right. So we're not just going to be having youths in the parliament. We're going to call upon youths and tell them from MCA, we're going to come up with a party or a movement, whatever you want to call it, a revolutionary movement that recruits new leadership with an agenda to change this nation. And Kenya will be the first country that will come away from the shackles they are a third world.
All right.
We don't have to be a third world just because we're in Africa.
Okay.
You see what Rwanda is doing?
Yeah.
So these are young people who have been trained. We're going to train ourselves. We're going to study, understand the root causes of corruption, the root causes of nepotism, the root causes of all our problems. And then there are going to be solutions to that. Yeah?
Of course.
Yes.
You have a big dreams, if I may say that.
Yes.
But the problem is who will, of course, steer ahead all this.
I will.
You are the man.
I will carry the
And
vision.
another question,
Yes.
who is sponsoring all this? Because it requires input.
Yes, but I don't need a sponsor. What have I done for the past 1 month? I had a mkokoteni. How much is a mkokoteni to hire? It's 1,000 bob. Juzi nilikuwa najinyonga pale. How much is a rope? I don't want people keep talking about who's sponsoring. Does Eric Omondi need a sponsor to get 1,000 bob or get a mkokoteni? You've never seen with a crowd of 6,000 people. Our demonstrations are very creative. I only need 5K or less to do what I do. Why would I need a politician or a billionaire to sponsor what? That time will come and we won't need a sponsor. The youth will unite, will come together, and we'll raise our own finances or whatever it's called, resources.
Okay.
Yeah. So nobody is sponsoring Eric because Eric does not need sponsoring.
Okay.
I don't need to hire a stadium. I don't need sound. I just need God to give me life and strength and health. So I need to clear that. Nobody sponsors me and I do not need a sponsor.
Well, let's talk about very key aspect as far as, transformation and of course, uplifting, the healing process, everything. If you want, of course, the economy to improve, you have to start from somewhere. You have claims, genuine claims. Kenyans are hurting. Economy is hurting. We want change. Children want to go to school. Students want their help loans, of course. But there is someone in power, and this is now the negotiation table where it comes.
Yes.
Do you think dialogue, of course, can bring some sort of solution out of this problem?
Yes. First of all, I need to clarify. We are not fighting a person. Us.
You're
Or
fighting,
me. We're not fighting William Samuel Ruto.
You're fighting-
Not the president. We're fighting a system.
and who is the system?
So every time we have an election and we have a new president, our problems persist or get worse. So Ruto will do his 5 or 10 years.
Okay.
Then the next guy who will come, the problem will persist or get worse.
Okay.
So we're not fighting Ruto, but we are asking Ruto, because he's a man of God, that perhaps he could be used by God to change the system. So he needs to listen to us. So that we tell him, we think here and here are where the problems. A very good example, we have very basic logical solutions that the president just needs to listen. Right now, we have 2.3 more unemployed Kenyans. More. Now 67% of Kenyans are unemployed. We have a solution. Do you know that as I'm speaking to you right now, we have 55 million Kenyans, yeah? Do you know there are people who are unemployed and the employees were looking for people to employ, but they don't know. Within Nairobi, within KU, kuna mtu anatafuta mama wa nyumba. Na kuna mama wa nyumba anatafuta kazi ya nyumba. So we just need to create a system where people are looking for jobs, meet people who have jobs, for example. And these are things that the government can help us create. That's just a basic one. You understand? So we're not fighting a person. We're fighting a system that even Ruto himself found there. But now we are shouting and calling for his attention because he can change it. He's the president.
He's the president. And who controls the system?
Yeah?
Who controls
He's
the
the president who's responsible for this country.
So is the system.
Yeah?
Who is the system?
So I get your point. He can change the system.
Okay.
Because in a way, he is the system.
All right.
Yes.
Well, you have some good ideas, especially the one that you have talked about, Mama Fua, and of course, Mama looking for house help. Why don't you present this noble and good initiative, of course, to the government and tell them, hey, there is existing problem and we have solution, instead of going to the streets?
They won't listen. They will not.
Have you tried?
Bro,
Mm-hmm.
the reason they have been here for 41 years. They will never, ever listen. They are busy. They have no time. And they have other agendas and things that are important. I'm telling you, the same day we were told that 802 million was released for cars, is the same afternoon we were told help is broke. Same day. Evans, they will never listen. Eric Omondi, you will not even get that appointment. They will not give you that appointment. They are busy. They are preoccupied. I told you, the only way that a kid gets the attention of the parent is to demonstrate. Pale tuko bedroom. Ni nini na mtoto? Mama Jane, ni nini? Kwani ni tumbo? Nimempatia maziwa kunywi. Sinja. Pale kwa hosi.
Okay.
So
even as we wind up,
yes.
Recently, of course, you have been complaining about unfair treatment
Yes.
From police, and of
Yes.
course, you said when you demonstrate, you got arrested, and of course, when the Azimio, they are not arrested. Do you think the police or even the system that you call is unfairly treating you?
Yes, I don't know why Evans I get arrested. I wish you come to one of those demonstrations that I hold. There is entirely no reason why the police arrest me. And every time they arrest me, it takes them 12 hours, 9 to 12 hours, trying to figure out what to charge me with. And I'm requesting the police, enough, don't arrest me again. It's unnecessary. Why are you tear gassing Eric Omondi? Why are you wasting the tear gas? So what was him? I'm so harmless. And I want to call upon the police, the IG, to look into that matter. I am a Kenyan, and I picket or demonstrate very creatively. There has never been a property that was destroyed when I was doing that. But a young man was knocked down by a car and his leg broken, juicy, because of the police. Because they lobbed some tear gas. They started chasing and beating people. And then a guy was knocked by a car. You have to call an ambulance. His leg is broken at Kenyatta National. So I blame the police. So next time when you see me, and then just come and let's talk. Don't usifike wanze vita.
Of course, I want you to merge two things because you're running out of time.
Yes.
One of them is, of course, the distribution of unga, and this begs the question: are you eyeing any, political office in the near future?
You see, the act of giving someone unga is just being a good citizen, a good brother or sister. I have unga, you don't have unga. And it's an African thing. Okay, si wombana chumvi. Kwa jirani.
Okay.
Ama mafuta. Ukipika ugali na unga maji imezidi unga. And it's 10 in the night. You go ask your neighbor. So we are a communal people as Africans. So I don't know when it became a crime to help each other. Yeah? I don't know why it became a crime to help each other. Concerning politics, I don't know. As I sit here, politicians have failed me big time over the decades since 1963, and most, if not all, of our problems are caused or created by politicians. Sometimes I think about it, but with good reason, because I've been to the parliament buildings a million times. I've been there fighting for Kenyan artists. I've taken a motion there. There's a bill in parliament. But every time I leave or I get arrested, no parliamentarian pushes that agenda. So sometimes I go there and I get tear gassed and I call my friends in. I'm like, bro, what's happening? It's been a year, mazi. Simpitisha hii kitu. Nasikia wampitia something else. So sometimes I think about it. Because sometimes I realize that I can only affect the change or the vision of the change or the dream that I have from within. Because for how long will I be tear-gassed outside Parliament? If I believe that Parliament has the solution and I have the passion and the vision, then I need to change my tactic. So sometimes I think about it. But for now, we are not thinking politics. We are thinking solutions that will help Kenyans.
All right. Well, Eric Omondi, thank you so much for making time to speak to KUTV Primetime.
Asante sana.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you.
All right. Well, we'll be taking a short break, and of